1, 8, 4.
Just about 10 minutes left for the mad one here on the mad side, joking like I need a Tombstone pizza if you've seen the TV ads. You know what I'm talking about. The always sociable and energetic and exciting Shelley Miller for her last 3 hours coming up after 9 o'clock tonight from 9 to midnight. Station changes sometime on Monday. One of my favorite Minneapolis bands here, the Mats from Don't Tell a Soul. Here's LBU, KJ 104, definitely the sound of the Twin Cities.
The real reason behind it, as opposed to what they listed as not enough listeners, I'm sure it was economics. I mean, they must have figured they make more money from country because they certainly had a devoted band of followers here.
I usually listen to KJ 104 because it's like the only alternative station in Minnesota as far as I'm concerned. And for it to go country, I don't understand their logic behind it.
What do you believe the real reason for the format change was?
Money.
Economics. Big business.
Politics. Fascism.
I don't know.
Well, the real reason is nothing unusual. It's just that the audience was too small. It's really quite that simple. The measured audience was too small.
Tom Tucker, the general manager, was never really behind modern rock when he was hired. He had a country background, and so when he came in, he never really backed it, never pushed it, never tried to convince the corporation Park Communications that this was the right thing to do. So they never backed it, so that's why it's sort of just as soon as the ratings dropped, he had this opportunity to change to country music, which he likes, so he can go home and sit and have a few beers and drink and listen to country music.
What is it really? Is it the money or the numbers? And I knew he was going to say the money. Well, now it's like he's trying to say, well, it's the money, but, well, that doesn't make sense. He's contradicting what he's telling us. So we're doing the money now, and he doesn't. He thinks he wants to make more, I guess. Really, the bottom line is he doesn't like this format to me. He never was really behind it.
Mr. Tucker, rumor has it that you've been seen at the Cowboy Bar.
No, because you got all romance stories in country western. You got life on the farm. You've got people out there having a good time too. You know, it's not just drinking.
I like country myself. That's what I was listening to before we met. But I like progressive rock too.
What I really think is happening, okay, I think that the type of music, alternative music that we play, is the type of music that people are going to be listening to in 2030 on a classic rock station of today, if we look that far in the future.
Okay.
So I think this is the new music that everybody will be listening to, whereas country has been a fad every whatever years for how long. You know what I mean? And yeah, sure, it's great. Everybody has, their own taste, and everybody has their right to like what they want to like. But when there's already a country station in town that's huge and has tons of money and that everybody loves, why not stick with something that is a niche format that people are finally starting to catch on to and finally starting to respect? I mean, we had 2 years and hardly any budget, and we all busted our butts, worked for nothing, did things we didn't want to do, and everything like that, and I think we all grew as a family and as a staff. I mean, I feel like I'm getting divorced from my family. Felt like I was driving in here to a funeral or something, It's really hard when you look at that, and a lot of people say, oh, it's easy, this is radio, you just go through this stuff, it happens, you change formats and life goes on. Well, yeah, sure it does, but come on, let us bum out a little bit. Everybody here was so into this. This was their life. I mean, we lived and breathed this. We, screwed up relationships and everything else because of our jobs, because we loved it. Is that serious enough for you?
To be real honest, I enjoyed modern rock. I really did. It's good music. It's coming up. It's fun. The people are great people. At the same time, I'm starting to enjoy the country scene. I had worked at a country station previously. Frankly, didn't like the music as much as I do now. It was 5 or 6 years ago. The country music scene has changed tremendously in the last few years. So I enjoy the country scene as well. It's probably good to have more than one favorite.
Give it away, give it away, give it away.
think in the last 10 years since I've been in the cities, there's only been a couple innovative formats. And I think Cities 97 was innovative. I think Hot Rockin' was, because there wasn't a hard rock station up to that point.
Okay.
And I think KJ 104 is a third in the last 10 years. And I think it's going to have a tremendous impact on Minneapolis-St. Paul. There's going to be countless bands that aren't going to get airplay. It's going to hurt the club scene dramatically because without the radio support, I don't think a lot of bands are going to come to Minneapolis. We've exposed so much new music the last couple of years that we can see by record sales that their audience went out and bought. That how are they going to find out about this new music? I don't know. Watch MTV's 120 Minutes. That's the only radio station or TV station, you know, that's going to be exposing modern rock besides the clubs.
KJ 104 held a small share of the market, which was obviously, but it was it's still a strong market. It's a I don't know. It's an audience that's very participatory. You know, I mean, I could book, you know, 7 alternative rock shows in a row, and they'd come to every one of them. In fact, alternative concerts are our best-selling concert.
104 did so much for First Avenue and for like the surrounding community of, well, distant suburbs. Say like this is Minneapolis, 30, 40, 50 miles away, where people were hearing this music and knowing there's a venue where they can come see it, you know, via First Avenue. Whereas before, we would do, say, an all-age, you know, alternative rock show. We would pretty much get the local people right around here. But now we've been, like, you know, branching out into Forest Lake, you know, deep south, you know, Apple Valley, and Wisconsin, you know, all over. You know, there's more of a draw. More people had a chance to hear the music and actually come experience it. Whereas now, they're on their own, you know. They won't know what's out there unless they go and buy every tape that comes out. And no one can afford to do that. They have no exposure to it anymore.
Luckily for me, I haven't really been offered a lot of alternative shows to do by agencies around the world at this point in time, which I'm sort of grateful for, actually, because I would have a hard time advertising it, as opposed to somebody like First Avenue who's been around for 20 years, and that audience automatically goes to First Avenue. I have to work a little harder to get them in here, and I really need a station. I need airplay on a band. So, you know, I hope and pray that another station pops up soon and I start doing alternative acts again.
If you're an industry that is dependent on the music, then you need a radio station to play that music to be successful. I think the fact that we're not playing alternative rock will have some impact on record sales, will have some impact on nightclubs, because the people who are going to those locations, to those businesses, aren't going to be as familiar with that music as they were previously. And there was a lot of music sold because of alternative music sold and because of us. But it's definitely going to be different.
You know, I think it opens a lot of creativity too. It sparks creativity. It, you know, the kids that listen to, you know, this kind of music may have a, you know, more creative edge than someone that listens to Look It Up from Kiss, perhaps. Or, you know, Bob Seger, old-time rock and roll, or Garth Brooks, for that matter.
Okay.
So anyway.